it still seems that in general in publishing, pricing models fall along two lines. Number one, we've got you, therefore we're going to try to figure out what the relationship is over a long time, or we don't know what the relationship is, but the advertiser understands it in this context, so we're going to let the advertiser figure it out. My question to you is, how does publishing move better to being able to realize different value points in different contexts along the lines of, say, the Toys R Us kiosk example that Rob gave, or what's done a lot in e-commerce for goods, where there is a lot of online experimentation, or in eBay, where there's a much better price discovery capability for goods and services. What can we do to set prices better in context more efficiently online?
Okay. Sorry. I mean, conceptually, there's something called a price driver. Just like you're all familiar with cost drivers, there are price drivers. And that will vary from market to market. And in some cases, for instance, we've done work for search engines, and you could statistically graph the price that different search engines in a B2B setting were getting compared to a little algorithm which basically said what was their total search field and how quickly could you narrow it down to a usable field of 20. And literally that algorithm matched up statistically perfectly with the prices they were getting in the market. So even though none of those engineers, I think, had done that calculation, and I say perfectly, I mean, it was like an R squared of like 0.8, which is pretty good in the real world for non-academic, and I'm not. So the answer is need to find your price driver. The reason I was kind of shaking my head earlier, it wasn't actually because I was disagreeing with Neil on anything, it's just how people think about price drivers. There's this really stupid joke, and I'm not telling it for the humor value, which is nil of that joke, but it illustrates how a lot of people do things. Yeah, right. There's this joke where if you walk down the street, there's a guy underneath it's at night, a guy underneath the spotlight, and he's looking on the ground, and the person walks up to him and says, what are you looking for? And he says, well, I lost my keys. So they both look underneath the searchlight, and there's nothing there. And then after a while, says, well, are you sure you lost it here? And he says, no, I actually lost it on the other end of the street, but there's no spotlight, so I can't find it there, so I'm looking here. And the trouble is a lot of people do exactly that. The data they have internally is what they think should be the price drivers. And I'm here to tell you, it's almost half the time it is something they have never measured internally. It is something like the number of insured that the insurance company has. It has been things like how quickly your search engine operates compared to another person's search engine. It has been in the legal industry, it's basically how much clients are willing to pay or charge back the research costs. So if you're a law firm, you're doing antitrust, by definition, your clients have too much money. Bill them all you like, search will never cost you anything, right? You're a family lawyer, by definition, the soon-to-be divorced mom with 3, that you're representing doesn't have enough money, cannot charge back anything. So who's more sensitive to legal materials? Not the antitrust guy. So my point is, usually someone in the company has a grasp of what that driver might be, but then everybody puts on their stupid cap, and then they start looking internally where the spotlight was shining for that data. When everyone knows it's down the street. And yes, that's uglier to get, but that's what you need. Otherwise, you will get no explanatory power whatsoever from your examination of price drivers.